All right. Hey, Josh, welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Noah. I think I've seen you in here before. I'm hosting today. And right now you're the only attendee. So the floor is yours for any questions you might have.
Hi, Noah.
Hey.
I don't have a specific question. Or maybe do you have experience with encryption? So what I'm working on is I have to collect some confidential information, banking information, and some of this data I will encrypt in the form. I saw there's just a checkbox for that. That's pretty straightforward. So there's some data fields that I'll have encrypted, and I understand I had talked with tech support before, and I understand that that data will be encrypted on the local server. That's great. However, what I need to do is send that data to an external database. And I understand I have to, with the flow, decrypt the data and then send the data to my external database.
Mm-hmm.
My question for you, I don't know if you have experience with that, but what would be the best practices, or what features or steps can I work with encryption and external databases?
Yeah, I honestly don't have much experience with that, but we can go ahead and jump in and look at some steps. Because I know there are steps around encryption, and then also it would just kind of depend on what your database is expecting, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the keys will live in the local server. However, the keys cannot be passed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I understood. At least from decisions. Maybe I can have an external fix, but I gotta talk. I still have to think that part through, but
Yeah. All right, because I know. Yeah, do encryption issues.
what version are you running on? Just to align.
This is 7.
Okay, great.
Are you in 7 or?
I'm in 7. Yep.
Okay, cool. Because I do also have 6 installed.
Okay.
Okay, it seems like we don't have any steps based around just encrypt. I don't remember what the steps were called now, because I do remember seeing steps that allowed you to encode it and like specify the format, unless that was only for decoding. Mm-hmm.
I can see base 64 decode.
Yeah.
That's what you had in mind.
No, that wasn't what I was thinking, because
Web
base 64 wouldn't be any kind of encryption.
Okay.
Base 64 is just converting a file to a string. So if anybody has that base 64 string, they can translate it back to a file.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not sure where I would even look for any kind of steps. None of those are going to help us.
JSON. Yeah, I know it's a pretty specific question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep talking with tech support on that. I think we're writing the book of it.
Yeah. Because I mostly know that when you set up a data type in decisions, you have the option to encrypt a field on that.
Right.
So that's encrypted in the database, but how we would handle sending that data to an external database, I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, you got anything else that you can think of that you might want to look at?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Or what kind of experience do you have? Maybe I can get some ideas from that.
I got a lot of varied experience because I work for the PS team. So I just get put on a bunch of different customer projects and build out a lot of things. I know a lot with forms and rules and stuff. And right now, the project I'm working on, we're using rule sets and specifically, I can't remember what the term is right off the top of my head now, conditional rule sets, which those are pretty neat.
Okay.
Are you familiar with rule sets at all?
Data flow rules I've worked with, auto-populating fields.
Yeah, that's on a form.
Yeah.
Rule sets allow you to string multiple rules together to run in sequence so that you can call that one step in your flow and it'll run all of those rules that are in that rule set.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense now that you explain it. Yeah, I haven't played with that in decisions yet.
Okay. Do you want to see that?
Sure. Yeah. If there's other questions. Yeah.
So with rule sets, like I mentioned, they'll have you create a bunch of rules, but let's go in here and I don't even know what a input to use, but we'll just put a string called test in there. And then so by default, we have the evaluation rules. And then those are just the simple true and false. And so as you add these in here, so as you go through and add those, these are part of the rule set. So I'd be able to call this rule set within a flow, and then it would run these two rules and return the results from those. And then we can go in here, we can configure some more settings, like we can stop on first true or stop on first false. This is set to logical, so this is just going to return the true or false. I can't remember off the top of my head what scoring does. Data return will allow you to actually return pieces of data from this. And then the project that I'm working on right now, we're doing conditional. And that allows you to make sub rule sets within your rule set. And then those sub rule sets will have a rule associated with them that says whether or not to run the things in that folder. And then we can add more rule types. So if you want to have a matrix rule in there, you can toggle this on truth tables, rule tables. Action rules are the same as when you create a regular rule and you click allow actions, that you'll have the append text, prepend text, change value actions available to you. And then flows transform data allows you to call a flow as part of the rule set that can then manipulate the data that is within your rule set. And then these flows, evaluation and data addition, will work like these, that they'll allow you to do true, false, and add extra data within your rule set. And if we look at conditional, it'll give us this create rule set conditional option up here. And when we do that, it creates a sub rule set. So we can see here that we've got our rule set and then inside of it, we have this sub rule set, and those will by default come with a flow and a rule. And then this rule here is what determines whether or not to run the rules in this folder. And then the data extension flow allows you to add extra data specific to this folder. So we have like the data we configured up here as the inputs to this. But then if for the rules in this folder, there's extra data that you need, you can come into this data extension flow, add the data in there, output it from this flow, and then any rules that live in this folder will have access to that data without it having to be an input to your overall thing.
Okay.
Let me configure this. Let's go here. Go ahead and turn on action rules because those are a lot of what we've been using for this project. Because we're taking these rules that the customer has in IBM's ODM platform and working to translate those to decisions. And a lot of their rules are just like manipulating data as it goes through the rules. So we've been using a lot of those action rules. And then also just like for the sake of showing you an example, I think that would be like the easiest to actually see something happen. So like see here, I can take test and then I can change its value to rule 1 complete. And then I go into the sub rule set. If I go into sub rule set, so I'll set up that input as a Boolean because then we'll be able to see this rule function. So we run sub rule set. Run sub rule set next. There we go. Is true. So now, if run sub rule set is true, then it will run the stuff here. And so now, if I add an action rule in here, no wait, we don't even need an evaluation. Add change value, test, rule 2 complete. So I'll leave that as false. I'll leave that blank. And then when we run it, test is null. It's going to change value if it's null. So let me just make that a space. Now it should have something. It has that space at our test change to. Okay. So maybe it's just because we're running it in the debugger. And it's not liking that. But you can see that the rule happened. That this should be changed by that first rule. And I know that I've seen it working on the customer's instance. So maybe it's just because we're in the debugger like this. I don't know. But then if I go ahead and I set this to true, we can see that this did return true. And so then this sub rule now happened, whereas that first time when that was set to false, we only ran this rule. This said not to run it, so we didn't run the rule in that subfolder, but then this time we did because we hit that criteria here. So that's how that aspect works. That's the main benefit with using these conditional rule sets is you could have like 10 rules in this folder that only need to run under a certain condition, and you would put that condition in this run set rule. It's like you could have 5 rules up here at the root level that would always need to run, have 2 different folders in here that say run these 10 rules under this condition and run these other 10 rules under this other condition. And so you can run all of these rules with one step in your flow by using this conditional rule set.
Okay, that's useful.
So yeah, these are pretty cool and fun to play with. And we've got somebody else that's joined us. So I'll let them.
Sure thing. I appreciate it, Noah.
Yep. Hey there, Sohail, you have any questions for us?
Yeah, not right now. I just came here to see, if I could learn anything for some of the problems the other users were discussing.
Yeah, Josh had asked about encryption, but I'm not super familiar with encryption. That's a little over my head, unfortunately. So I was walking him through conditional rule sets because that's a fun feature that I've been using on my current customer project.
Okay, so I guess there's nobody else here because we can adjourn for the day, right?
Yeah, it's just
Unless,
you two.
Yeah.
So unless you've got something else you want to look at.
Not right now. There's some stuff
Okay.
we're working on, but nothing for this meeting.
Okay. All right. So what do you think, Mario? Are we good to end it here?
Well, I believe so, if they don't have any more questions.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for coming. Have a great day.
Thanks, Noah. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.